Hello, wonderful U.S. history students. Miss Z here with the Progressive Era. What you need to do is grab your notebooks, label it Progressive Era, and if I'm going too fast, you can absolutely just pause the video and make sure that you're getting these notes in your notebook. The first thing I want to talk about is what progressives believe. They believe that government should be more accessible and responsive to the people. So, a people's government. Society should also be improved, and the government needs to be a part of those reforms. We've been talking about all the problems that are going on during the industrial time and during the Gilded Age. These are the problems that people are wanting to be fixed. And so that's the problems that they're trying to reform through the government help. Also, laissez-faire capitalism should be rejected. So they're asking that economic issues that are too big that the government has not solved, that they should solve it. So they want big business to be regulated. Remember, we talked about how laissez-faire capitalism means that the government will stay out of capitalism and kind of stay out of business. The progressives are asking that the government start to regulate that business. Also, there must be protection for victims of industrialization, such as women, children, and immigrants. So they're asking for more protections for those groups. Settlement houses start to rise up. We talked last week about Jane Addams and how she starts settlement houses. These are started by middle-class women in poor working-class neighborhoods. They offer childcare, language classes, health care. Workers in the settlement house will advocate for government reform of things such as minimum wage, laws concerning that, workplace safety, sanitation laws, child labor laws. One example is The Whole House by Jane Addams. That's the one that we talked about last week. Finally, in 1904, we also get the National Child Labor Committee, and their goal is to end child labor in the U.S. The first child labor law is actually passed in 1916, and it will put a stop to being able to employ children. Finally, we have the Meat Inspection Act and Pure Food and Drug Act. This makes it a crime to add spoiled meat or misbranded meat to food that you're going to sell. The law makes sure that the meat is slaughtered and processed under sanitary conditions. In 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed, and that prevented the manufacture, sale, and transportation of poisonous or dangerous foods, drugs, medicines, and liquors. Then we have some progressive amendments. The first one is Amendment 16. This is the Graduated Income Tax Amendment. And this says that different levels of income pay differently. So the richer you are, the more taxes you would pay. The next progressive amendment is Amendment 17, the direct election of senators. This is just how it sounds. People would vote on senators in order to be in the Senate. They would directly elect them. Number 18 is the prohibition of the making, sale, and consumption of alcohol. This one will later be repealed down the road, but during this time frame, alcohol was not allowed to be made, sold, or consumed. And finally, the Progressive Amendment number 19. This is for women's suffrage. This is to allow women to vote. There were different ways to make government more accessible to the people. This is what progressives wanted. The first way is referendum. This means that voters may approve or reject laws passed by a state legislature. Recall is a process by which voters can remove an elected official from office prior to his term expiring. Initiative is citizens may propose a law directly without a state legislature. And direct primary is a political party's candidate for office are nominated or selected by a direct vote or party members. The U.S. Forest Service and National Park Service is created in 1916 by Woodrow Wilson. This allows the president to set aside public lands in the West and make them into forest reserves. They're now called national forests. That was just a really quick overview of some of these reforms that are happening during this time frame. Now I want you to check out your flex time activity, which is this link right here, and I'm going to put it in the description below. You can make a copy, and this will be your own copy. So this will be what you will use to put your notes on. And first I want you to watch the video parody of the fight for women's vote, and then watch the explanation of it. This is a parody of one of Lady Gaga's songs, and it's set back in the time frame of women's suffrage and the fight for women's suffrage. Answer these questions while you watch. So pull this up, and you can answer those questions on the form while you watch the videos. Keep in mind, Alice Paul is a suffragette. Suffragette means someone who fought for women's suffrage. Gaining franchise means getting the vote. That's your flex assignment for today. Don't forget to do it, and you will submit it with the link. That will be your grade today. If you have any questions, I am available on Teams, so just hit me up in the chat. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon.